Tech Twice Weekly, episode 38. Welcome to Tech Twice Weekly for January 13th, 2015. Oh, wait, it's the 14th. That's right, we didn't have an episode last night. We had some personal scheduling issues get in the way, but that is not stopping us from bringing the news, the most important technology news and discussion, typically every Monday and Thursday. My name is Ben White, and I'm joined, as always, by Eric Fee. Hey, man, how you doing?
Great, and I'm happy to be here.
I know your schedule probably wasn't busy on Monday, right?
I was really busy.
I'm just saying, I rescheduled our show off Monday originally because I was busy watching the Oregon Ducks play Ohio State. Did not turn out in my favor.
Yeah, I heard. I was busy Monday and Tuesday. I can't remember what I was doing on Monday, though. It was something.
No, well, that worked out then. Or did you become busy because I canceled the show?
Technically, I became busy, but who knows?
All right, well, we've been away long enough. Let's get straight into the top stories. Tonight, we start off with news from The Verge on Spotify passing the 15 million subscriber mark as part of their 60 million active listeners overall. The last time Spotify shared their subscriber numbers was in November of last year, following Taylor Swift removing her music catalog from the service. And at that time, they reported 12.5 million paying subscribers. Before that, during last May, they reported only 10 million subscribers. So it looks like a few blank spaces, thanks to Taylor Swift, haven't hurt Spotify's numbers much at all. Yes, that was a Taylor Swift joke. GSM Arena is reporting on early rumors that Samsung's next smartphone, the Galaxy S6, will come in two different versions, following no mention of the phone at this year's CES. According to the Business Insider, the S6 will have its traditional rectangular form factor as well as the Galaxy S6 Edge version with the wraparound curved screen. It is expected that both versions will be powered by Samsung's own Exynos 7420 chipset, along with 3 gigabytes of RAM and a 5.2 or a 5.3-inch display, keeping it just under the Galaxy Note. The new S6 is expected to have a unibody design, removing the popular user-replaceable battery. It is expected the new phone will be announced at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona in March. What do you think about this idea of Samsung taking away the removable battery?
I'm thinking that they're trying to become as Apple as possible.
Possible,
They
possible.
always have been.
Apple would tell you that, that's for sure.
Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if they call it the 6S and the S6 and the S6 Plus.
Ooh, that might be some fighting words after Apple's already taken them to court a number of times.
Yeah, Samsung, man.
How the mighty have fallen?
Well, if you look at their sales numbers, yes.
Yeah, we did cover that story last week, 2 episodes ago, with the fact that Samsung's leading the trend in Android hardware sales falling.
Yeah, and apparently their corporate, uh, the head honchos are real pissed.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Did you get a chance to see much about this curved edge display?
Nope.
Basically, it's your traditional rectangular phone, but then the screen curls over the edge of the phone. The ones demonstrated were all over the right edge of the phone. And then that edge can be toggled as a separate display. So you can put icon shortcuts down there or display widget information or to set up different things. So when you swipe up, you can make a gesture command. So swiping up opens up your browser or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, on its face, it's a unified display, so there's no gap or anything, but it acts as a separate display.
It's kind of cool, I guess. And it would have to. You wouldn't want like your stuff being wrapping around your phone like some Salvador Dali painting.
The thing for me that I wonder though is, are they going to make left and right-handed versions? Because this edge is meant to be controlled with your thumb on your
Oh
right
yeah, you're a
hand.
lefty, aren't you? You
I'm a lefty. I'm the only one in my right mind, and I wouldn't be able to reach the edge.
you wouldn't buy one anyways, though.
This is true, but that's not the point.
you're not the you're not the target audience, either handedness or purchase history. So,
I guess you have to market to the majority, huh?
well, that's always true, but I mean, at the same time, it's a good question. I mean, if they didn't have a left-handed version, it would kind of suck for lefties that would wanted to buy it and use it as it's quote unquote intended.
Right. And it's not like you can just flip it over because then all the button placements are going to be off on the edge of the phone.
Indeed. Not only that, but next they'll just pull an Apple and be like, "Hey, you use the other hand. Just you're using the wrong hand. You're holding it wrong.
Right. It's your at fault. The phone is perfect.
You were born differently, so it's your
I
fault.
was born incompatible with this phone.
Your fault, not Samsung's."
All right. Well, speaking of Android, Digital Trends is covering one of Google's latest updates to their Android applications, Google Translate. The app currently offers voice to speech translations for many different languages, and the new update will be adding the ability to listen for if someone is speaking a language it recognizes and turn their speech into text on the fly. And that's really the impressive part here is the fact that this software is going to be rendering speech to text in different languages. This comes as Skype is also looking to improve their services translation offerings, which now lets two people speak different languages while holding a conversation in real time with instantly translated words being displayed on the side of the screen during a call. Right now, Skype only offers this for Spanish and English, but it is said more languages are in development. Many attempts have been made to shut down the infamous underground marketplace, Silk Road. However, much like a hardy weed, it has always managed to spring back up again, apparently just slightly new management, or under just slightly new management. Gizmodo is now reporting that a new version of the marketplace has launched on the I2P anonymous network called Silk Road Reloaded, and it is accepting several different altcoin currencies. Previous versions of Silk Road have been hosted on the Tor network and traded almost exclusively in Bitcoin, but this newest version will trade in 8 different cryptocurrencies, including Darkcoin, Dogecoin, and Anoncoin, among others. Beyond the expanded currencies, the other big news is that Silk Road is moving off the increasingly security questionable Tor network and onto the decentralized I2P network. To access the I2P network, users must download the I2P software and configure their network connection, which will then allow connections to .I2P sites. Time will tell if this change helps preserve Silk Road from its past legal issues. What do you think? Are you familiar with this decentralized network at all?
I saw this news a few days ago, and I immediately started googling or Wikipedia and googling I2P. It's really very interesting in how it works. Um, it it's interesting. I don't really want to go into the technical details too deeply, but
Sure.
sounds super cool. I don't really care about Silk Road, and I probably won't be shopping there anytime soon, but I2P sounds awesome.
And does it offer just the anonymity of being decentralized, or does it actually include encryption in some way as well?
It has end-to-end encryption, and the start and end points are anonymized. So you can't tell where you're
Okay.
connecting to. You can't tell who's connecting to you from anywhere else, and you're encrypted along the way, so you can't be eavesdropped.
Okay. I can see that some benefits to that compared to how the Tor network functions.
Hmm. Very interesting.
Well, in speaking of the Silk Road, the Register brings us news on Ross Ulbricht's, better known as the suspected Dread Pirate Roberts, trial starting yesterday. He is being charged for allegedly running the underground marketplace Silk Road that notoriously supported the illegal sale of drugs and other goods and services. He will appear in New York court being accused of narcotics trafficking, running a continuing criminal enterprise, conspiracy to aid and abet hacking, and money laundering. Roberts, who will be appearing in court under the assumed alias Dread Pirate Roberts, may also be tried under murder for hire allegations as well. However, Roberts continues to maintain his innocence, as well as denying that he is the Dread Pirate Roberts at all. And I don't know. There's a lot of back and forth on this one, but at a minimum, Roberts faces a mandatory 20-year sentence if found guilty.
It's kind of funny. The Drug Pirate Roberts, and he's saying he's not him. And if we all know our uh, film history and the Princess Bride, the Judge Pirate Roberts and the Princess Bride was not one person. He was whomever was the latest. And when the Dread Pirate Roberts got rich, quit, and then another one came and filled his place, all with the same name. So that's the point. Is it's funny. Yeah,
I get it, and you get it. I'm not sure if the federal government gets it. Well, retailers are working quickly to adopt mobile payments as they become more and more popular with consumers. 9 to 5 Mac is passing along Verifone's announcement of plans to launch a new mobile point of sale terminal that will support all mobile payment platforms and devices. The new terminals, called Payware Mobile E55, really catchy, will accept all payment types, including chip and PIN, NFC, Apple Pay, and traditional magnetic stripe, as well as offering Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and USB connectivity to allow optional barcode scanners. Verifone, Verifone? Yes. Yes, Verifone plans to release these terminals in late summer of 2015, but no pricing has been announced. There was also no mention of how competing services such as Currency, which require limiting customers' choices to specific technologies that have partnered with the service, will work with the terminals. What do you think about this idea of one unified payment solution so you can just show up with whatever you've got in your wallet?
I think that most point of sale terminals are pretty much like that, anyways. We've seen, we've seen in the United States magnetic stripe and NFC and chip and pin terminals all over the place. In fact, they're almost a standard at most of the places I shop at near my work, where they have a little reader on top where you can tap a phone or NFC, or you can tap your card or you tap your NFC, and then they have a stripe reader, and it's like, okay, that's normal. But adding other stuff on there is getting a little bit into territory that one thing we covered, Currency, where they're trying to have accounts and they're trying to have like payment tracking and they're trying to have all this junk, and it's like, no, stop that. We want the things we're used to. We want the things that are backed by the card companies who already promised us all this security that's mandated by law. So stop it. Stop it. Just let me pay normally. Stop.
Let me give you my money and be done with it.
Exactly. I want to go home.
All right. Well, Digital Trends shares the news SpaceX is continuing their mission to develop a reusable rocket engine that can be used to deliver a payload into space and return safely back to Earth. Last weekend, Elon Musk and his team successfully launched a test rocket from Cape Canaveral in Florida. However, while the payload successfully separated from the rocket engine did not manage to successfully land on the target barge. While the rocket did manage to slow its descent, it was not slowed enough, and the impact of the rocket landing on the barge resulted in damage to both the barge and the rocket. This is only a small setback, though, and SpaceX has made it clear that they plan to continue their research and testing of this rocket design. The time has come, and CNET reports that yesterday was the last day Microsoft will be offering mainstream support for the Windows operating system, the Windows 7 operating system, I should clarify. From this point on, Microsoft will only be offering paid support for the Windows 7 operating system, which was released back in 2009. This is all part of Microsoft's ongoing work to try and get more users to switch to Windows 8. However, thanks to the instability of Windows Vista and the drastic UI changes that were implemented into Windows 8, it is estimated that half of the world's PCs are still running Windows 7. You're still a Windows 7 person for your Windows needs, right?
That is correct. At both work and home. I run Windows 7 on my home desktop and on my work machine, my workstation. And I think that although this is normal, it's more about pushing businesses to move forward than people. But I think that if Windows 8 wasn't so polarizing and didn't cause as many problems as it does, we wouldn't be in the situation. But it being so very different than what we're used to and what we want to use in general means that people are not going to just start upgrading because of support needs. And I don't think that Microsoft should just be so cavalierly dropping support for people who legitimately own and want to keep using it. Um, I mean, it wasn't until recently that XP numbers started to drop for for gosh's sake. Um, and we haven't seen, and Windows 10 isn't out yet, so there isn't that desktop lovers alternative to jump to. So sad.
Well, I don't know. I've been running Windows 8 and then upgraded to 8.1, and I would tell anybody that they should jump to 8.1 personally. I've been very happy with it. It's been rock solid stable, one of the best Windows versions I've ever had the option to use. But I think a lot of the Windows 7 numbers are going to be stuck while a lot of offices are still in support contracts. And until the companies out there decide to upgrade, nothing's going to change. I know Microsoft certainly hoped everyone would jump to 8.1, fixing a lot of the concerns with Windows 8, but realistically, I don't see the Windows 7 numbers dropping until Windows 10 comes out at a minimum. Do you anticipate upgrading to 10, or would you wait and see where it goes?
From what I've seen with technical previews so far, I think that it's likely going to happen for me.
Well, and it is typically that tick-tock cycle that most people follow, right? I mean, every other Windows release you skip.
Basically, although I used Windows 2000 for a very long time.
Well, speaking of a long time, I mean, I was still on Windows XP, I think, before you helped me find a copy of Windows 7.
Yeah, I think I've pretty much helped you find all your copies of stuff.
No, no. I got a lot of my copies of OSs from during my PCC time,
Mhm.
so I could run them under my education program.
Yeah, I got the copy of Windows 2000 I had from high school.
The days when high schools had money and actual contracts with Microsoft.
Yeah, I miss when we went to high school at the perfect time, man. The first few years were magical before it went downhill.
Very true. Very true. All right. Well, let's try and pick things up a bit and look at our tech toys for tonight. So we've got two on the plate. The first one that debuted at CES is called the Cube, and I don't even know what to make of this. Back on Kickstarter, there was a really popular cooler. I think we covered it on a show called the Coolest Cooler. It was a beer cooler, had a built-in Bluetooth speaker that could come out, had a built-in
Oh,
battery. It would
thought we were talking
charge
about
your
the lantern.
phone. What?
Thought we were talking about the lantern.
Oh, yeah, we could start there. I just
No,
started for a second.
continue, continue. Cube, speaker,
No sweat.
beer.
I mixed things up on you. Sorry. I grabbed the wrong tab. But at any rate, the Cube is basically a clone of the Coolest Cooler. I don't really understand. It's nicer looking, but it's a big cooler with leather handles that overall is a giant Bluetooth speaker. I I love it, but I don't understand it, and I really don't understand the fact that they are asking $1,099 for it. I mean, do we
Yeah,
either the Coolest Cooler or this Cube make any sense to you?
dude, you can buy a Bluetooth speaker for $20, and the other $1,980, $800, no, 900, $1,980. You can buy a lot of ice with and a regular cooler.
Think about how much beer you could buy to put in a regular cooler with $1,000.
That's a significant amount of beer, my friend.
I mean, $1,000, you're talking kegs of beer. You'll need a bigger cooler.
I don't know. It does look pretty cool, but the price is just astronomical.
Well, if the price tag doesn't chase you away, they have said that it will begin shipping around April or May of this year. We'll have a link to the story from Engadget in the show notes, but I, I love it. And sure, if I was Bill Gates, I would have all the cool tech toys that are going to hit the market that are never going to be successful just to show one on a shelf and say, I have that. But for anybody else, I don't recommend picking this up. Now, our second product, this one's a little more interesting, and I think this is why you caught on to this one. This is covered by a story from Pocket Lint about a little device called, it's a solar lantern that offers Wi-Fi. The product is called Lantern, and it's a gadget that allows you to connect to the internet from anywhere, sort of. Um, Basically, what the Lantern does is it offers a Wi-Fi hotspot with free data. But instead of directly connecting to the internet, it uses a network called the Outer Net, which is a satellite network that broadcasts information. And this makes the Lantern work a bit more like a digital radio where you're tuning into a frequency. And I'm not quite clear how big this Outer Net network of information is, but I like the idea of it, this alternate network that you can pass and share information on.
Well,
What do you
be
think of this
careful.
project?
It's not about it's not about connecting to the internet. It's basically about getting data where you normally wouldn't or from other sources. Basically, what it is, it's a little transceiver for satellite communications. It's one way. You cannot send data out. You do not get connected to the network. The network is connected to you. And with
That's a
their
big distinction.
yes, with their software, you can download their constant low bandwidth streaming, and they stream news and information. And apparently, it's a digital stream, so there's more than one thing happening at the same time. But you will get access to a bunch of their content, basically, and that's great if you are off the grid or you're in a place in the world without internet connectivity. You'll get access to important news and educational data and entertainment information and that kind of stuff. And they say that they send all sorts of files like music, images, text, all that kind of stuff. So you'd basically have access to whatever their data they're streaming worldwide, which is really cool. And then the coolest thing about it is it's a really kind of an interesting survivalist type of utility. If they are still streaming content after the zombies ravage the earth, you would be able to, of course, get information on from other places on how they're surviving the zombie apocalypse or something like that. But I highly doubt that they'll be transmitting data after that, after there was some kind of enormous natural disaster. But technically, it'd be pretty cool.
Well, and if you're interested in this, it is an Indiegogo project. It's been funded, but they're still open to raise additional funds ongoing. You can actually buy in for one of these Lantern devices for $169, and they're expecting to deliver them in August of this year. I like the concept. I think I would want to see it proven in practice. I mean, the idea of taking something like this camping would be interesting to get like weather reports and stuff that you normally consider getting over a shortwave radio. I really wonder what the range on this is. How far away can I get? Do I have to have clear sky like a GPS?
Probably something, but not the same. GPS has to connect to many satellites um, to get the data from them, not just one. So I don't know, but either way, uh, I think Lantern is freaking cool. I wonder how much they cost. That's my only question.
They're $169 right now if you want to pick one up through the campaign.
Mm, indeed.
I think this is a project I'll keep my eye on. I don't think I'll back it while it's in development, but it's definitely something I might consider purchasing if it ends up being successful and in the retail channel.
Yeah, totally could be very cool.
Seems like the sort of thing that you could tuck away in a go bag.
Well, I mean, it just be something that would be nice as well. I mean, um, I'd be able to on my Chromebook get news and whatever wherever I am at without having to have a data connection or whatever. It just sounds like it's kind of a cool perk. If you go backpacking, you can pack this in a laptop and a solar charger and get news. I mean, that'd be cool.
All right. Well, we're running a little short on time. We've got a couple of discussion topics, and I still want to hit at least one of them. So I know you've had a chance to look them over a little bit. Did any of the three topics there really catch your eye, or maybe your ear, so to speak?
The whole 20 things that happened, I looked at that and I took me a few seconds, but I realized I'm too old for that crap. I'm not playing Where's Waldo with some imagery. Um,
You know, it's funny. That was the exact association I made it as well.
the leap second thing is kind of whatever. They'll figure it out. They're smart. I liked the Obama one where
Oh, Obama calling for a 30-day shot clock on stolen consumer data, trying to actually put some protections in place for consumers rather than letting companies sit on these privacy leaks until they feel like sharing with us.
yes, and not only that, but it would hopefully help them beef up their security so they wouldn't have to deal with it to begin with. The idea that consumer information is not worth protecting, other than with the very basic of protections, is a little bit ridiculous. My personal information is not may not be worth money to them, but it's worth money to me. And I don't want to be taken advantage of, have my identity stolen, or be robbed simply because they were too busy and they didn't want to spend any money protecting my privacy, even though I shop with them, I trusted them, I used their services. They took my money, but when it came time to spend a little bit of it having the right computer protection to guard that information that they collected while they took my money is not interesting to them. So I think that that's totally on point, and companies have been bogus lately, and we should have some kind of protection for it. I
No, I
mean,
have to agree because I think there seems to be a companies have forgotten that when you make a purchase, there is a trust happening there. It's not spoken. I mean, I guess sometimes there's terms of service and whatnot, but you're making an agreement. I'm going to give you my payment information for this specific transaction. You're going to give me a good or service. And in good faith, I'm trusting you will use my information for this transaction and whatever agreement we've made, and that you will hold that information securely. But companies seem to have forgotten their end of that bargain.
indeed, and it's not fair.
I mean, can you think back in the day, go back to the Western, and you're going into the mom and pop shop, and you give them your information, and somehow somebody else gets their information, the store would be blackballed. But now everyone's still shopping at Target. Nobody cares.
Too big to fail, man. Not only that, but it only affected a small amount of people. So,
Relatively small, depending on the size of the scale you use.
well, I mean, there's a likely chance that even with the number of people's information leaked, that very few of them will feel the repercussions of it.
That's true. A number of people were affected by having their information stolen, but a very few actually had that stolen information taken advantage of.
Exactly. But how many times do you have to have your identity stolen? How many times do you have to be abused by malicious folks to that for that to not to be okay? A mutual friend of ours actually recently he tried to he waited a while to file his taxes, and then he got a letter from the IRS saying that that he had no refund to claim, but he hadn't filed his taxes yet. And so he followed up with the IRS, and apparently someone had attempted to steal his identity and to take his tax refund.
Goodness, wow.
Yeah, and it's like, how would you feel if that happened to you? Probably pretty bad. You'd be really annoyed having to deal with it. And that's what happens when people can just get your data
You'd
because
think there'd be red flags for that stuff, like, hey, we're going to send this to a new address that we've never seen before. But I guess now people are getting their refunds direct deposited, so you could change banks whenever you want.
well, I mean, imagine if someone did collect your refund and it did get direct deposited, then you filed your taxes and the IRS was like, I think you messed up by filing your taxes twice, and you're like, nope. It's like what's the IRS supposed to do? Eat it and then spend money going after the people who used your data and then
Yes,
send you a check
that
too?
is exactly what they are supposed to do.
I realize that, and that of course, and they should. But the problem is that costs them money, and when the IRS and when it costs them money, it really just costs us money in the aggregate.
Right. That's very true.
And people all say, well, we should reduce government spending, small government, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, until they don't have enough staff to, audit your data. No, but I'm not going to argue for big or small government. I think we should have an appropriate size government. But that's not the discussion going on. The discussion is consumers deserve protection, and companies need to get on that or pay the price, as far as I'm concerned.
I definitely agree wholeheartedly. And I think this is a great article on The Verge summing up Obama's plan to try and implement some consumer protections here. And not to want to cut our discussion short, and this episode is running a little bit short, but I unfortunately have other obligations I've got to get to, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up our show here tonight. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute, Eric.
Uh-oh.
It's the middle of the week. We've never done a show on a Wednesday before.
So? Do
we do a show tomorrow?
I don't know. That's actually a good question, and I will say we kind of. I'm not saying it'd be bad to shoot back to back, but at the same time, there wouldn't be that much content to kind of skull up for tomorrow.
Right? I tried originally launching this show Tuesday, Thursday, and that's really cutting it close on getting enough content to talk about.
Yeah, and now we're doing Wednesday and Thursday, and it's like, I'm not sure. Honestly, I could go either way. At the same time, I don't see a lot of viewer benefit to having an extra show other than the fact they get to hear me talk for a while, which might be good. I don't know. But as far as what we'd bring to the table, I don't think it would be as rich.
I think we're going to take a pass, and I originally had us canceled on Monday for the Martin Luther King holiday. But I think what we will do, given the way this week's played out, if it works for your schedule, is I'll put Monday back on the calendar, and we will take all the news from tomorrow forward and cover it on Monday.
I think I can make that.
Alrighty. We'll make that happen, people. So no show tomorrow, but we'll be back on Monday, back to our regular schedule. Monday, Tuesday, we'll live again.
Monday, Thursday.
That's what I meant. We'll fix it in post.
Do it live.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please check out the site, techtwiceweekly.com. You can follow us on Twitter at techtwiceweekly. As always, we're in iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're in Blueberry. And if you could leave us a review or some feedback, I'd really appreciate it. It helps them know you're listening and helps boost them up so other people can get in on the show. Also, feedback at techtwiceweekly.com. I'd love to get your emails and share them on the show. With that being said, have a good evening, everybody, and we will see you Monday.